everyone, welcome back to another episode of TJ Hates Quitters, where we cover the challenge over here on Silent Podcast, where we are anything but silent. My name is Kari, and I am joined by two new guests today. And not only are they two new guests, they are two new silent podcasters just joined the ranks, within the last 12 hours. But I'm so excited to have them on a show already. So let me introduce you to some new silent podcast crew. Daveyy, hello, how are you
Hello.
this evening?
Hi, Carrie. I'm doing well. It's been a lovely Thursday. I spent the day at the Central Park Zoo, and now I'm here talking about what a wild episode we just had.
What was the best thing you saw at the Central Park Zoo?
I saw a red panda, which aligned with turning red, but I also saw a snow leopard.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And then I'm also joined by Tito. Tito, how's your Thursday going?
It's going so great. This is the highlight of my day. I'm really eager to be here. And I love how aptly named this podcast is and how it applies so well to this episode. So I'm really excited to get into it.
I'm going to toot my own horn hard here in the fact that I am not the best at titling things, in my opinion. And this is the best title I've ever come up with. I was so pumped about it. Like, it's gotten a lot of compliments. I was real proud. So thank you for that, Tito, because you've won me over. I'm yours.
Done.
Toot that horn.
Please. I mean, listen. When I was making I was Googling challenge font on and shit, trying to figure out how to make the graphic match and everything. I took this one very seriously. So I'm glad that's getting some positive feedback. Before we get into this week's episode, which I loved, I want to ask you guys about your challenge history. Do we have some favorites? Do we have some mortal enemies? So Tito, tell me about when you first got into the challenge, and who's your favorite on the cast this season? And if they've already been eliminated or quit or injured, you can still say them. We allowed them to still be answers in this situation.
Great. Yeah. So my history starts back to The Real World. I remember watching The Real World with my older brother and kind of being really engaged with that kind of show. I was much too young to be watching that kind of show. I was probably 7 or 8 years old, watching The Real World Paris and all this nonsense and whatnot. But when it came to All Stars, I was super excited to see these older faces, people we hadn't seen in so long. I think this season, it's fed into from the last 2 seasons. Jonna has been my favorite. I remember seeing her on Endurance when she was 12 years old, and seeing her in Real World Cancun. I just followed her, I feel and I just really appreciate her. I think that she's really smart. I appreciate that she recognizes where she's coming from, and knows how to play the game in a more strategic way than she had before. So yeah, I would say Jonna is probably my number one right now.
I didn't realize that she was on Endurance. I learned something new today.
Yeah, she was the winner of season 1. Spoiler alert, the winner of season 1 of Endurance.
Oh, I was going to watch it. Oh, no.
That
this
came out in 2000.
For me. Shit.
Oh, no.
Darn, the rewatch podcast can't happen.
Well, there goes that idea. Back to the drawing board. Shoot. All right, so you've been around for this for the long haul. Daveyy, how about you? What's your challenge history and who's your favorite on this season?
So similarly, I was a Real World stan. I actually wrote it in my high school yearbook. I was I want to get on Real World. Never happened, but it's okay. Dreams are still dreams. And I remember just clicking through the channels, and all of a sudden, I just remember teary goodbyes and sad eliminations. I was enthralled by Battle of the Sexes 2. I just thought the format was so cool, right? If you're one of the captains and you win, you get to eliminate somebody. But if you're a captain and you lose, they get to eliminate one of you. It was just so cool. And I remember all I needed was 8 of you to have my back. And it just is something that I quote all the time. And I kind of fell off. I saw little tidbits of Inferno 2. I saw the classic Jody and Veronica move, and then I got into the duel, which is my that's the moment where everything was just golden for me. I loved the duel so much.
Love the duel. We are in in the same. I also started in sex at Battle of the Sexes too. I love the duel.
Yes.
Like we are very,
Yes.
very in sync right now. I
Aligned,
really
in
appreciate
sync.
this.
Yes.
Did you tell me who your favorite was? I don't think you did.
No. On this current season,
Yes.
this is gonna be so controversial. I really like.
Just say it.
Okay,
We're
so
anything but silent here,
or
Davey.
anything but silent. I mean, I like Jordan
Okay.
for his pure like powerhouseness.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of the people in the house really sleep on Jordan, but he has proven himself time and time again that he can win and he's going to put up a fight. And we can talk more about this past episode, but you know that, or last episode, you know that Jordan is here to play. I also want to give an honorable mention to Sylvia, who I also
Mm-hmm.
put neck and neck. So I love Sylvia's confessionals. I love her personality. I love her strategy. Just everything about her is chef's kiss.
I don't think it is the Jordan take controversial. Tito, would you think it's controversial? I personally love someone who can come in here and just like own their shit. And I talked about in a previous episode of that. Jordan is such a wild card in this game just because he doesn't need anybody else. He doesn't need an alliance. He doesn't need 6 of them to get together and scheme on how to win the challenge or whatever. Like, he just does it on his own. If he doesn't win, he's like, okay, I'll just take you out in elimination. Like, I love that in a challenger. So I know that like totally puts blinders on to some shitty things he's done. However, I'm here for the challenge. Like, if I'm looking for morality, I got other places to get that from.
Yeah.
I'm not here to learn how to be a good person.
Exactly.
If you're looking for morality, you can root for yes.
Well, anyway.
Okay.
I like ask you a question, then answer it myself. But do you think it's controversial to like Jordan? Where are you at on Jordan?
So like you said, if we're having these blinders on, right? Let's do it. Yes, Jordan is probably like you could like create the best challenger, it probably looks something like Jordan. There's a reason he's considered to be one of the best. There's a reason his like track record is what it is. It's one of those things for me too. It's like Jordan is one of the contestants that shouldn't necessarily be on All Stars. He could still win a regular season. And I think a lot of what I thought of when All Stars started was, oh, this is people who aren't going to return to like the flagship, the challenge, because they're older, they're not going to be as competitive, it's going to be more fun. And that's what I think season 1 was. I think we're getting into this, bringing back Jordan, bringing back Wes into these all-star seasons makes me feel like, oh, like we're going to start to merge these two and it's going to be kind of a sticky line. Because I do think that Jordan, someone like Wes, do have a little bit more of an advantage based on just like athleticism and recency to the most recent seasons. So I like to see it shift back into like, let's bring back some of these older castmates who we haven't seen in a long time, who maybe don't have the same kind of athleticism, but still have the same energy and like spunk to be a part of the challenge.
Wes is 38. I'm just throwing it out there. Like, we looked this up an episode or 2 ago because we had a similar conversation. Because I'm like, how old is Jordan? Like, you could tell me anywhere between 30 and 40 and I would believe you. And Jordan, I think, is either 32. I think he's only 32. So he's like, it is a little confusing. And I think that Jordan is on All Stars for morality reasons and not for any other reason, in the fact that they kind of had to treat some of our people who are racially insensitive in a way where like, oh, if we're not going to allow this one back on to the actual challenge, then we can't allow you back on to allow you back on. And so maybe they're like trying to give him a chance to prove himself so that they can justify putting him back on a normal season, because Jordan in a normal season makes the season better. It doesn't matter like what else is going on. He increases the quality of what happens in that game.
Agreed. And I think I want to pose a question really quick. Do you, like, in my mind, Jordan can't win this season?
How come?
I should have elaborated. So yes, he absolutely could win, right? He has like the physical strength, he could win everything, right, along the way. But in my mind, like, for his like journey, right, moving forward, like he has to lose, be humbled a little bit, have that redemption arc in a season where he's like, I know what I did in the past was wrong. I'm here to like redeem myself. I feel like him coming in here and winning is kind of like a slap in the face a little bit. So I'm hoping that like that storyline comes out a little bit in a way where it's like, okay, like, we can re-like Jordan again, because I really do want to like him, but I think it's tough sometimes. But
what do you think about that, Davey?
I cannot think of a single male challenger on All Stars 3 that could defeat Jordan at this moment. I think that Jordan is definitely going to make that final, and we've seen it time and time again where if Jordan makes it to that final, he's going to put up a really big fight. So I'm not going to discount him. I might discount his mullet, but I won't discount him. It's horrendous. I'm kind of pro mullet, to be honest, for him, just for him.
So Davey, here's where I'm going to disagree with your opinion a little bit, and it's only because of this most recent episode and our new twist that we get. And we can get into it now. It's not like no spoilers or whatever, but we get a little bit of a change in the game where before the authority was putting in a man and a woman, and they would go against the people who came in last place from that challenge. And now the authority is just the top male and the top female, and they pick someone to go in, each a male and a female, and the person who gets thrown in gets to call down who they want to go against. And so here's where I see Jordan getting taken out, and it's his really only weakness is in something like, I would say maybe a pole wrestle, or where like him having only one hand, it's like this is a time to go after him. Like we have to take our chance now, otherwise we lose to Jordan in the final. So that's the only place where I could see someone kind of stepping up and being like, okay, well, I think he can get thrown in. So I guess maybe it's not just someone calling Jordan down that instance, but if Jordan is in the elimination, and it has to be something where like having two hands is going to be an incredible advantage. That's the only way I see him going out.
I guess I will counter that with, I don't know which challenger has the balls to be like, I want to take him out before the final. Because I think everyone's playing a very cards close to the chest, calculated game. And I feel like this is a variable that is very known and we'll deal with it. But they also have to they're in self-preservation mode. And I think that it's going to be a hard thing to balance. So I'm not going to discount it. I think that you have some validity, but
we'll see. We'll
see.
All right. Let's jump into this week's episode. I'm so excited. Neither of you decided to ask me who my favorite was, so I'm going to tell you it's Wes. So
you're wrong for that
episode.
That's why we didn't ask you. That's why we didn't ask.
I don't care. Listen, I host this shit, so I will tell you that it is Wes. If you've listened to previous episodes, you know that I like Wes. And I mean, given he's not like my favorite all time, Wes and Kayla are probably my two favorite on here. But
wow, you're so wrong.
I know. Listen, that's why I host, so that I always have to be on here and people have to listen to my opinions versus like asking, so like it's one of the perks, I guess. So I'm excited to talk about this episode. Let's establish that real fast.
Yep.
We start off after the arena. It seemed, I'm not going to lie to you, I watched this during my lunch hour today, and I've been busy as fuck all week. So, like, if there's a detail where you're like, you made that up, you're probably right. So, call me out on it. It's fine. So, I'm pretty confident it was the next morning after, and not usually. Last season, they used to do a lot of, like, the night after, or, like, coming back in right after the challenge or the elimination, but more this season, that first scene is the next morning, and we get to check in with a couple of our challengers before we head off to our daily challenge. So first person we check in with is Yes, and to me, again, I'm biased here, that he's building Wes into this huge villain, this awful person, like just complete menace to the game, right? and says like, we have got big villains who openly want to destroy things, and that Yes wants to play a grown-ass game. I will reserve opinions because we probably already know what I'm gonna say. Davey, where are you at with Yes this season?
I think that Yes walked into a really hard game format where we know that every person on this cast has been a finalist or at least has won.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Yes was already fighting a losing battle, being so diplomatic and like kind of neutral. Everybody in this game can see right through that, and I think Wes clocked it.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who is always going to be righteous is going to be a threat because they're going to be the opposite of his chaos. So I think that Wes clocked it, and he was right. I don't think that Yes was going to be in any good standing.
Tito, as anti-Wes, I need to know how you feel about Yes here.
So the interesting piece about this is that I'm not pro Yes because I'm anti-Wes. I feel like Yes was a big no this season. I think that he came into All Stars 1 thinking what he thought, and it worked out for him. But I think that the cast that he had wasn't playing the same way that this new cast is playing. I think that implementing or adding Wes, adding Jordan, adding Kayla, Sylvia, these like younger, more strategic players kind of hit him in the face. Like he didn't know what to do with that, with who's people playing strategy. I feel like Veronica has been pretty strategic. So I think that his perception of the game that he won is very different than the game that he's playing in All Stars 3. Now, I will say, Wes does give a lot with this. And it reminds me a little bit about, was it a couple seasons ago in the regular challenge when Josh Martinez and Wes had this rivalry that Josh made up, and Wes was like, this is not a rivalry. Like, you just hate me. This is the kind of similar vibes that I'm getting. It's like, it seems that Wes is just kind of there, and Yes is just like, he's a villain. He's awful. And Wes is like, okay. Like, it just doesn't, the rivalry doesn't exist, and so that's why I can't, like, support one or the other. They're both to me. But I do appreciate Wes for what he does give as a television person. And the way it turned out in this episode, I was pretty happy with.
I feel like the rivalry has only grown post season. Like, I think there was obviously stuff in the house, but there's been so much online drama with the two of them, and like Wes screenshotting Yes's text messages and Instagram DMs and stuff, and then Yes like trying to expose Wes, but it really didn't like do anything. I don't know. It's been a lot, and to me, I think the issue is that Yes at least wants to be saying that he plays this like game of integrity and stuff like that, and like, you're playing the challenge. There's no integrity. You left your integrity at customs. Like, when you got your passport checked, they take your integrity right then and there. It doesn't exist. And to act like, I don't know, this whole like, I don't like liars, cheaters, stealers and stuff. Like, okay, so Wes came in first place and had to use the sabotage. So you're mad about that. You are mad that there is a rule in the game that he has to do that, and you are using that against him. And just otherwise, like, what schemy or slimy things has Wes done this season? I can't think of one. Like, he was campaigning to get Yes in. Him and Jordan were like, yeah, that makes sense because Yes is like kind of on our asses for no reason, and he's won before. And if that's the schemiest thing that he's done besides insulate himself within alliances, shut up. Yes, like, leave your leave your gameplay back in 2000 because it's evolved.
It has. I think that him targeting Yes was like Taco Bell sauces, like very mild. It wasn't anything egregious. It was like, I have someone that I want to target, and I'm gonna get them. So I don't think that it was anything out of the ordinary of something Wes like usually does.
Yeah.
I mean, comparatively, right?
Right. Well, we'll definitely get more of this later in the episode, but the next person we check in with is Beth, and she's like, I might have ruffled some feathers by winning last night, and I might need to make a big move.
Jan.
Okay, yeah,
You know,
okay. But also, I think I was a little confused because I don't think that Beth sending Kendall home was a ruffling feathers kind of move. I
no.
think that it helped the treehouse. It kind of isolated Kellyanne, so I guess Kellyanne like got it. But that was also ammunition for Kellyanne to be like, okay, we know that the treehouse is a big thing, so why don't we just get everybody and like target the treehouse? That was a perfect opportunity for Beth to be utilized. But here we are talking over coffee, like with little secrets, and it didn't mean anything. I think it was a wasted opportunity, and Beth didn't ruffle any feathers. If anything, she exposed a lot of shit.
Right.
I agree. I think Beth always comes in, and like even like as a fan, whenever she comes in, I have this perception of like, oh, it's Big Beth, something's about to happen, like she's about to get punched by Tina, something, and literally it's never a thing. Every time she's been back, I guess it's only been 2 times, but it's very underwhelming, and I have had higher hopes for her. I don't think we'll see her again. I hope we don't see her again. I'm kind of over her at this point. But yeah, I do think that she had a good opportunity to come in and kind of figure out the lay of the land, because something that like frustrates me a little bit is how divided the house is gendered wise. It seems like the girls are only playing with the girls, the guys are only playing with the guys, and so the treehouse 4 versus the other 4, like it seems very like, why aren't we mixing this up a little bit? And we're only seeing what we see. But I think that Beth had a good opportunity to come in, pull in Kellyanne. What can we do with Jonna and Naya? Like make it 4v4, and it made it even more obvious with the challenge itself. Like, why are we not doing this in a way of self-preservation almost?
Right.
But it seems like they're all just fighting to not be at the bottom.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It seems like we do not know how to count to 4 here on this season and determine the numbers. My big thing with this is Beth taking out Kendall is not a big move, because it wasn't like she plotted this. She wouldn't go out on a plank and spin cubes around to do a subtraction equation, right? Like, this wasn't, unless she were to come out and be like, oh yeah, this is what I wanted the whole time. I just got here and I'm in an elimination. This is exactly what I want. Like, shut up, Beth. You didn't make a big move. You wanted an elimination. You do what you were supposed to. So
that's what it is. It's so revisionist. She's always like, ha ha ha, look what I did. It's like, yeah. That wasn't at all your plan. You got thrown into elimination because you were terrible. and I think arguably Kendall's a better competitor than she is. I mean, maybe not arguably. I think that's pretty. She is. And I think that she lucked out on a challenge that her size really helped her. But what do I know?
I just think of all the wasted potential, or just the opportunity, because we could have seen someone like Jody come back, or Svetlana, or
oh my god,
Cook.
Svetlana.
Cook,
give me Cook.
right? Like Susie Meister.
So
anybody.
We got into this a couple of episodes ago. I can't remember when. Actually, I think it was like right before, like when the cliffhanger was, we're bringing someone new, or it was in the preview or something, whatever. That, from what I understand, Beth was originally supposed to be on the season. And then at the airport, right before they're about to leave, she sees Tina for the first time and is like, fuck no, I'm not going on a season with Tina. And so there's like a big hoo-ha about it, right? And then like out is Beth, in is Sylvia. Sylvia was like a last minute replacement for her. So I think a reason that like specifically we got Beth is she'd already allotted this time to be here. And so it was very easy to be like, hey, can you come down? Because we've lost like 5 women when we were only supposed to lose 1 at this point. And Tina's one of them. So like, you'll be fine. And that's why they were able to get her. But like you said, Tito, I personally never need to see her again. Great. You can come down and run your mouth and spread rumors that might even be true, but we'll get into that. And but otherwise, like, you aren't adding anything to this for me that someone else, like we'd already mentioned, other people could come in. Like, I know Jody's boring, but at least Jody's going to do well in challenges, and that's going to mix things up. So Yeah, I'm definitely on like the Beth train going out of town one way. Like, don't come back. Choo. We get Kellyanne and Beth like trying to come to an alliance, but Beth kind of like puts her foot down because she's like, I don't trust Jonna. I can't work with Jonna. She's a cheater in many ways. I can't work with Jonna. So
She's so
even this
shady
like
for that.
I know, even this like 4v4 thing we're talking about, like the only way Beth can survive, Beth is the one preventing it.
Right. And I don't understand her, like, why? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't trust Jonna. You have no you have no other options. Like, I'm confused as to what she thinks she could do. Also, what is Kellyanne doing in all of this? Like, Kellyanne has seemed invisible to me. Is she playing the game at all? Is she just relying like, oh, I can win my way there? Like, she seems to have like zero social capital. Who is she talking to? None of the girls like her. I don't even see her talking to any of the guys. Like, I want to know what she's doing. Why isn't she more of an active player? Why isn't she like, no, Beth, we need to. We don't have any other options. These 4 girls are together. We should pull in Jonna and Nia. Like, what is she doing? I don't understand.
Hey, she just lost her best friend in the house. Give her some slack.
And her business partner.
The fuck. No,
you know what? No, I'm going to argue with that one too, because Veronica lost Jem and Tina one fell swoop. She just lost Yes, and Veronica's playing.
Yes,
it's true.
I will say 2 things. I love that when Veronica has even like a smidge of power, she does things, and I live for that every single time. And I think Beth's fatal flaw also is the fact that she did the number 1 rule that you cannot do. You cannot close doors to anybody that will help you get farther in the game. Like, that's textbook 101. I'm still in mourning of like her potential. I care a lot about her potential as a player. I cared. And I just like, I feel let down. I need a sad confessional.
I have to tell you guys something that has nothing to do with the challenge, but I just got a text message that like I need to say out loud.
Oh my God,
my partner texts me and goes, I ate Nitro's treat that was in my pocket. Nitro is my dog. Listen, to be fair, these fruitable treats, they smell real fucking good, and I have tried one before, but so has he. So like the fact that he's trying a second one, I think I should now be concerned. No? Like,
yeah. Woof,
it doesn't sound like an accident.
I said on purpose, question mark? Like, what are you doing?
Wait, what kind of dog do you have?
Oh, this is Nitro. He's actually the other co-host of this show. He chimes in from time to time. Only barks, but he's a golden retriever. He's beautiful. Aww. I'll gladly send you a picture, or I can get him on screen by the end of this. He's laying on the beanbag right next to me, but you'll definitely hear him. When I like randomly cut out, it's because I'm muting myself because Nitro is losing his shit. So, update. He said, yeah, I'm hungry. All right, Lavelle, like, is it that desperate? Okay, so anyway, let's keep going. This is my life. Like, hello.
Back to regularly scheduled programming.
Okay, so before we get to the daily challenge, we have one more group to check in on, and we have like the meeting of the meet, if you will, in the gym where Wes is saying like, I want to take Darrell's role with you guys. And looking to insulate himself in these alliances with Mark, with Brad, with Derek, and so
He's so weird.
Why is that weird?
Wait,
I just feel like his approach was just like, hey, y'all, like, I want to be Darrell. Like, I want to take his spot. And it just, like, to me, it came off so, like, gamey. But I also feel like he approached the exact right people to not perceive it that way. I feel like Mark, Brad, and Derek are pretty, like not savvy in that same way, and they're like, oh yeah, like Wes makes a lot of sense, and not like considering any other options. And I'm kind of surprised that Wes went this route in terms of like after like Darrell left and that spot opened up. I kind of thought he would kind of go Jordan's way and be like, let me see what me and Jordan can do together against this like other mob of guys. So what do you think about that? I don't know. I just thought it would turn out differently.
I am a teacher, and I immediately looked and I looked to see if there was a sale on Elmer's paste because Wes's legs were so pasty. And Brad calling him out of the bed, being like, "We need to talk now." I was like, "Oh, this is kind of hot." But when Wes did that, I think he bossed out. I'm not anti-Wes. I'm actually very pro-Wes for his gameplay, for his scrappiness, for his grit, because he'll do what needs to be done. But I do think the logical replacement was Wes, because Wes will do, as we've talked about.
I think it also allows him to be a bit more open with his alliance and connection to Brad. You know what I mean? I think that Wes, Nehemiah, and Brad have very much tried to downplay how they are. And so if he gets to go into being Darrell 2.0, then he has to now be like, hey, Brad, like Brad and I are on the same side with this group of men, and he doesn't have it being threatening to them. If anything, it's going to help. So to me, like, it makes sense where he can now do things like he does later in the episode, which lay himself down on the line for Brad and everything. That it definitely is gamey, 100% gamey, but I think that the thing that I love the most about Wes is that he, at least to us in the confessionals, is not trying to hide that. He's like, I come here to play. Like, why am I going to leave my life at home? I have a beautiful wife. I have this dog. I'm rich. I have these businesses. Why am I leaving to come here and be like, oh, hey, everybody, like, let's work out in the gym together. And then, like, kumbaya. Like, I'm coming here to fucking win. So I appreciate that he gives us that insight in the confessionals. And to see him make that move, to me, is just like, Wes hasn't lost a step. I love it. Let me see more of it.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right about that. I think I don't appreciate him enough for that reason. I think that he is really honest with the audience, which I appreciate. Versus Brad, who I have decided Brad's an idiot. To me,
it took you that long to get to this conclusion?
I mean, I guess I hadn't thought of or considered it or thought about him in forever to like even have that thought. But when I saw, he was like kind of a big highlight of this episode in terms like he was being highlighted a lot, but for like really bad reasons. I feel like he's a very bad player. And I really desperately wanted him to be like, ha 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 ha, like I convinced Wes to go into elimination for me. Because I knew MJ was gonna pick me. I wanted him to be strategic in that way, but he was like, Wes is such a good guy. I knew I could trust that friendship. Like he's sincere, and I really, really desperately wanted him to be like, this was my game move. I stayed out of elimination by using the bond that I have with Wes to get him in there. But it was, I don't know, it's sad. He's got to go. I'm done with him.
I don't trust anybody that doesn't blink, so Brad's not on my trust list. But I actually have like an interesting question. Okay, you can laugh, but you know that alignments chart in Dungeons and Dragons? It's like
I just took a quiz on that like literally yesterday.
Okay, so you might be able to answer this question. What would you categorize Brad as? Because I feel as though he's so all over the place that I can't pinpoint his alignment. So if you have any insight, please share.
Yeah, lawful neutral. Is that a thing?
Yes, I think so.
It's because
that sounds like the worst one.
I mean, I landed like just shy of chaotic evil. I'm literally in neutral, but like literally the line is here and my dot was like just next to it. So I don't know I feel like being neutral is almost worse because it's like, am I anything? Do I exist? Yeah. But I just need to be a little more evil, I guess. I have aspirations now. So anyway, no, I think that he's neutral and like his motives are very transparent. There's not trying to really game. We saw his alliance, like it was his alliance versus Nehemiah's alliance, and whatever alliance got to like out athletic the other one really had the best opportunity to win. And to me, I don't think he ever tries to do bad, so that's where I'm getting awful from.
Yeah,
that would be my guess.
Yeah, I agree.
To me though, this season, like he's come to play. I'm slightly impressed. Like if anything, I do wish that he had a bit more of a social component to his game, but he's not like strong enough Jordan wise to just kind of run it through. Like he can be taken out in eliminations and he can lose challenge. In these dailies, he's been doing really well and he's trying his best, which I appreciate. So I'm not like completely out on Brad. I think he does add that kind of like head you need out of some of the men that are just like, okay, Wes is going to outsmart him 10 days out of 10. However, Wes doesn't necessarily beat Brad in elimination every single time. So like Brad does serve a purpose. He's just not as interesting to watch as like a Wes or a Jordan is per se.
Yeah, I can see that. I also feel like to me, Brad, Mark, Derek, I feel like they're all kind of interchangeable. They all kind of have that same like lunkhead vibe. And I also with Brad and Wes, like I go back to the duel when they were the final two and like Wes beat him. I feel like there's got to be some sort of like feeling or like resentment there, and it's seemingly like Wes is better than Brad in every way. So like it's interesting. It's to me like how like committed and dedicated he is to their friendship, because I feel like Brad could be the one to like usurp Wes in a way, because Wes does have that like trust and loyalty to him, because he thinks Brad wouldn't do any of those things.
Yeah. Well,
he just
Brad
has potential.
To win an elimination first.
Yeah, Brad's not great at eliminations.
Yeah,
it sucks because I find myself rooting for him in some ways, but you just have to perform, and I don't think that he performs, which is so sad.
If Brad wins this season, I'm not mad. You know what I mean? Like it's probably not going to be the most exciting way to the end, but I'm not mad about it.
Tito's mad.
I think
you think you're mad?
Yeah.
No.
I think Brad, if Brad was gonna win, he was gonna win last season with Jody.
Yeah.
Yes.
And because that didn't happen, I feel like I can't.
But Brad and Jody don't, in my opinion, win that final. You know what I mean? Like I think I don't know if Jody had enough brains to compensate for Brad in that final. There was a little bit of thinking. And that's not like Jody is just as much like you can't. It's more tough, but that I just don't know if that duo wins that in terms of, especially the last part with the lock. But I mean, there's apparently some drama with that anyway.
Questionable.
Yeah. But it does seem like, based off of what we see in the daily challenge, that Wes is going to try and earn his way into this men's alliance and to offer himself some protection. So we'll see how this pans out for. But we move into the daily challenge, which is called Sidetracked. And
you remember the name?
I did. So I will give you a heads up. I didn't write down the name of the elimination, but whatever. So I went for 2. That's 500. Like that gets people in the Hall of Fame. So
I got the name of the elimination.
Good. That's why you're here, Davey. I did such a good job getting you guys on the show today. Wow. So let's explain this daily challenge real quick. It's like extreme ring toss. So each person has their own stone with 5 pegs on it in the shape of a star. And I don't know how far the run was. They really didn't give us much of like insight on how far that run was, but essentially you would pick the color ring of the person that you are trying to eliminate, because the first person who gets all 5 of their rings on their like eliminated, and it continues on that way until we have a winner. So before this elimination happens, we have to give out some sabotages. So Kayla gives her sabotage to Beth, and Brad gives his to MJ again. What do you think of these sabotage moves, Tito?
I feel like no opinion. I feel like when there's like no like change, like I think that was gonna happen anyway. I think that even if the sabotages weren't there, because of what the challenge is, Beth and MJ are gonna be out and not have a chance anyway. Yeah. So I guess that's better than the sabotage having this like super huge effect on someone and ruining their game in that way. But I guess I'm neutral on the sabotages overall. yeah, I think this challenge was kind of flawed in that way, in that the sabotage is neutralized because of what the challenge is.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about these sabotages, Davey?
I honestly, I think that one ring is a game changer, but I don't think that it was a big enough deficit to really put them behind, because
Mm-hmm.
the stamina and the endurance of having to run and get the rings is one thing, but the accuracy is another. I think you can be the fastest runner, like you could be Jordan style running and be super fast, but if you're not
Fast as
accurate,
fuck,
like still
boy.
fast as fuck, boy. If you're not accurate, then like what are you doing? You know. I also want to give an honorable mention to Ronnie, who is my sleeper pick, because I think Ronnie is very perceptive, has insulated herself really well, and
Mm-hmm.
I see this edit coming where it's like I'm a 2-time champ and I haven't done this in a while. I
Mm-hmm.
have big hopes for Ronnie.
I literally
But-
wrote that down when watching it. Like, we're getting little confessionals of Ronnie
Mhm.
here and there, and they're like impactful ones. Like at the start of the
Yes.
episode, that she
Yes.
was like, oh, like we had some big Kendall's out of the game. Like she like little like sly things, not super memorable,
Yeah.
but they're there. And then at the end of the episode, I'm pretty sure she's the one who like ended the episode with. She was like,
Yeah.
there's still a big hill to climb, but we're getting there. So I feel like those little things are really like noteworthy.
She's
Mhm.
kind of
That's a
getting
good
the
pick,
Yes
Davey.
season 1 edit for me, you know, where like
Yes.
when Yes won, I'm like, dude, where, like, have you even been on this season? Like, how many confessionals did you have? 4? Like, what is going on here? So to me, she's kind of getting that edit. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have like a late game run by Ronnie at all. I also really enjoy her. Like every time she's on my TV, she's either doing something athletic and good, or she's giving me commentary that is making me laugh. So like,
Yes.
I'm fine. Keep Ronnie, stay around as long as you want, girl. Like you are welcome
Please.
here.
Please.
We want you in this house.
So she's funny. Yeah, that's the thing
Yeah,
too.
she
She's
really
like, funny.
is.
Yeah.
Before the actual challenge starts, the daily challenge starts, the men meet up. Well, not all of them. It's like, okay, we saw Mark, Derek, Brad, Wes, and Yes, I think was there.
And I think Nehemiah was there too.
Was Nehemiah standing there? Okay, so basically everybody except Jordan and MJ. Weird to me that they have this conversation in front of Yes. That was my whole thought. My thought the whole time. Like, what the fuck's he doing here? Like, why are you allowing him to, or why are you talking about this? Or you just don't care enough because you know it's 5 versus 3, and it doesn't matter what they do that you're that confident in it. But anyway, the game plan of these 5 men is they're gonna go after M first, go after Jordan second, and after they probably get Yes, then they'll just pick each other off until Mark wins. So they're basically handing Mark the victory here. When this was going on, so I know it's hard to see it now that we've like seen the challenge, how the rest of the episode is played out, but did you see any flaws in this plan as they were talking about it? Or did it raise any questions for you, Davey?
Yes. No, like not saying yes as in like the contestant, but like yes, it did. I, as a competitor, knowing that it's halfway through the game, why am I intentionally giving a win to like? Yes, it's someone in my alliance, but I don't think that it was too much of a short-sighted move to really consider all the facts, because they didn't realize that they were giving Mark the win until it was too late. I think that's why they reference Mark as the Godfather, because he will continuously put himself in a position where he's always going to have the upper hand, and they should have seen through that. I don't know.
It's not because he's 50. That's not why he's the guy. Okay.
I don't know. Is there a correlation? I'm not sure.
Tito,
Nice
did you have
guy.
any questions or concerns about the men's plan in this?
I mean, I feel like it's smart. I feel like this was all like in Wes's head. I feel like he made this up, like put it into play. To actively like not be the winner, I think is smart, especially in the situation where it's the first authority, where it's just 2 people. And if you're insulated with an alliance, there's like no harm. I think where it goes wrong, obviously, is when Brad is like what the heck is going on? Which, like, I'm still confused about. You're telling me you were standing right there, but you have no idea how this plan came into play. Like, you're all standing in the same, like, 10 feet of each other, preparing for the challenge, and you have no idea what's going on or why this happened. This is just reinforcing my idea of why Brad's an idiot, and I don't understand him at all. Like, I don't get it. But also, hang on, before I move forward, I wanted to go back slightly to when Kayla gave Beth the sabotage, and Beth goes, I think Kayla's intimidated by me. Like, I don't know why. I could be her mother, or she said, like, I could have given birth to her, or something like that. I just thought that was funny.
Kayla is sweet. She's the queen bee of the house. I could have given birth to her. I could be her mother. If she thinks I'm a threat, that's fine. Like, okay.
Like, okay,
Beth.
But yeah, anyways, back to Brad being an idiot.
Yeah, I just wonder if, like, why didn't Brad speak up then? And I guess, like, to keep the peace within that group of 5, as opposed to just like, okay, let's just duke it out at us being final 5, because then I think you'll see alliances within the alliance. You know what I mean? Like, who do they each go after? It's probably smart to make it just like designate Mark and trust that he's going to do what he says he's going to do. I don't think, though, at that point they knew that the person who gets put into the arena gets to pick who they're going against. So that's like the little hiccup in this plan, and that with Brad not being safe, and if they're going to continue to go after MJ will go after Brad. But also at the same time, I feel like you can't be afraid of an elimination, especially in this format where someone gets to call you down. Like, there's really no safety. There's no hiding. So that's like the one hiccup. That's obviously in hindsight, but I think it is smart to like designate a winner, because then you get to keep your allegiances hidden just a little bit longer within your group. Like, you know, there's always those like side chats to the group chat, and we don't want those exposed.
Yeah.
I have a question that's like related. How, on a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate your ring toss skills?
Oh, I love throwing things. Like, they would be up there, probably in like the 7.5 to 8 range minimum, I think.
I'm like a 2.45. Like a 2.45.
2.45.
I feel like several things. I don't think I practiced or done that enough to even have like enough data to come up with a number. So I'm just going off of like, I don't think that's something that'd be good at. So yeah, a 2.45.
I used to work at a summer camp, and we had like a carnival every summer, and so all the shit for carnival was in the top floor of this place called the Lodge. The Lodge was like 10 or 11 bedrooms. They were the size of like a large closet. Like, you had a twin size cot and like a cubby and a little bit of space. Like, they're small as fuck. But what was cool is like nights we didn't go to the bar, we would just like dick around in the Lodge, and we would bring that ring toss down. And so we would like set up the stand, and we would like gamble in terms of like, all right, I bet you like $5 I'll beat you or whatever. And just like, we would sit there and play ring toss all the time. So I'm confident in my ring toss abilities. We would only gamble in foreign currency, though. So I won and lost a decent amount of euros doing that, but won more than I lost. So I also just am good at throwing things. Like, that's one of my top like 5 skills. So I think I'd be okay at this challenge. It'd be the running where I'd be like, fuck that. Someone get me a ring and I'll just throw it for you. You're the good runner and I'm the good thrower. Teamwork makes the dream work here. I got you.
There you go. I can run while you throw. We'll tag team it. There we go.
Oh my God. I would be like just casually running to get the rings, because I cannot run for shit. But I'm very confident in my throwing abilities. I would give myself like an 8.5.
Oh, nice.
You'd be like the Mark, just like walking, wandering, grabbing rings, not worried, claiming the authority without the challenge even happening.
Yeah.
Like, just like, he's like drinking water. Like, he's fine.
Could you imagine if we were all doing that challenge and Tito's like, oh, I'm just a 2.45, and he actually just beats us?
This is my elaborate plan to like make my threat value down for when we're on a challenge together, you know?
Silent podcast
Genius.
challenge.
True player. You have the integrity of yes. To me, okay, so here's my take on this challenge, though. It wasn't the most like riveting TV to watch by any means. Like, if anything, the commentary was like the more exciting part than the actual challenge itself. So a few things that were said. We get a bit more of this Jonna MJ relationship explained. Jonna's like, we came into this season together. We won last season together. Like, we're close. And MJ saying like he's taking this personally and everybody's coming after him nonstop. It's not mean girls, it's bad boys picking on me. Shut up, MJ. And
No, I'm protecting MJ at all costs.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Why?
I mean, not at all costs.
Tell me your defense of MJ here.
Because I would not want a 35-pound weight running through the mud in a ball brawl. And I do think that getting several sabotages over and over again when he is not the biggest threat is mean girl behavior. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying it facetiously because I do kind of want to see MJ upset a lot more people. And I don't know. I'm excited to see what he can do. And plus, I was a fan of him from last season.
Okay. Okay.
It's not a strong defense, but the defense rests.
I will say, as like dumb as I think Brad is, like, how many times can I say that on this podcast? I do think that his
27.
consistency of targeting MJ makes a lot of sense. You're
Yeah.
right. But I think like he has the excuse, right? I feel like you could just like always like go back to like he won. I'm gonna throw it on him. He's the winner. Like, I'm gonna throw it on him. He's the winner. It's just like an easy out. And if that's what Brad's going for, like, go for it. I don't think it's like a not smart thing to do.
Yeah, it's a very old school tactic in the challenge. Like, once you've made someone mad, why make somebody else mad when you can just like reduce the number of people being mad at you by continuing to anger that one person? It's not like it's going to change anything. So that it makes sense to me too. Otherwise, like, I don't mind MJ. I just also like the idea of the fact of like, let's take down the winners and like have a new winner and shake it up a bit. So that's the other thing. We have Yes go for Wes in this, and then we have Wes kind of like pop off at him a little bit, like, oh, if you're such a fair player, why aren't you throwing a ring at every single person? Why aren't you taking turns going at people? Why are you just going for me? Like, the Yes West rivalry to me is a bit more one-sided than, like we said, like, I don't know if it's like as pathetic as Josh Martinez levels, because that's a lot, but
no one could ever defeat Josh Martinez.
I mean, a lot of people defeat
Josh
Martinez.
That was good. That was good.
But the rest of the gameplay kind of like happens as it is, and MJ is the first eliminated, so the plan works. And then one by one, it kind of just went the way that they narrated that it would at the beginning before it even started. So we end up with Mark winning. We do have a little bit of back and forth between Mark and Brad, because Brad definitely was trying to win at the end when Mark was supposed to win, and I say supposed to with air quotes. So I think it would have been a nice little interesting twist if Brad had won. What happens to that brand new men's alliance? Does it fall apart at the seams right then and there?
Well, I think it has to. I think that it's like a slight betrayal, or a big betrayal by Brad if it was previously agreed upon. But then also, like, Brad's putting in MJ, and MJ's going to pick one of them. So by doing that, he's also making one of his other alliance members in danger. I could definitely see MJ going in and picking Derek and being like, I'm calling Derek in, I can beat Derek, or maybe even I don't know. I just feel like MJ's not gonna, and he can't pick Brad, so he's gonna put someone else in danger. So I do think it's like a really like game losing move for Brad if he does do that.
Yeah.
So are you trying to tell me that you don't think Brad is smart?
Brad's very dumb.
Say it again.
Brad's an idiot.
28 clocks.
And I think, hang on.
Okay.
I think if he really wanted to, he could have won. He even said it himself. I think that if that plan didn't come into play, I could have won. I think he lucked into losing that challenge.
I mean, I think he lucked into a lot of things this episode, to be honest. So I don't know,
Lucky
but
lady tonight.
then the women's heat, not, I don't think it's very exciting. At the treehouse, knocking out the not treehouse, and then the treehouse does what I wish the men kind of did, which is just like, okay, let's just have at it. There was no set winner, so I did like that component of the women's challenge. When we got to that final, it's like, all right, let's do this. So we end up with Beth losing and Sylvia winning. We do get a little bit of hostility. Beth is mad that Jonna is going after her, which I don't know why. You've openly said that she's cheating on her husband multiple times, so like weird. And Ronnie is a little surprised that Naya and Jonna are going after her. Otherwise, like that's really
that's interesting
one.
to me. I feel like Ronnie has, we said, like, not been super out there in the episodes, but to get what we're getting from her, and it's like about like, why is Jonna going after me? I don't know what that is. So they clearly don't have a relationship. So Ronnie's like very in deep with this Treehouse Alliance. I was kind of hoping there would be a little bit more to that. Maybe Ronnie and Jonna teaming up in a way where, like, oh, Ronnie realizes she's on the bottom of this like Treehouse Alliance. Can I look outward into Jonna or Naya? But that doesn't seem like it's going to happen, because I think that we wouldn't have gotten that kind of rivalry that's kind of brewing from at least Ronnie's side towards Jonna. But
I honestly felt like when Beth said that, it was so insidious and nasty. I mean, I don't know what Jonna and MJ have done. I'm not a fly on the wall. I'm just a person that reads online things on Twitter. I'm not going to confirm or deny what they've done, but I think,
just say it. We're journalists. We're detectives.
No, it was. I don't have a thing to say other than, like, it felt very TMZ, very like the cliffhanger is, oh my God, Jonna cheats on her husband with MJ, and now Beth is using it as like a stirring point. Well, I'm glad that she did use it as a stirring point, because the potential is not wasted as being a drama stirrer. And Jonna, if Jonna does go into elimination, wink, wink, maybe she does, then she gets a hand in calling out the person that is trying to slander her.
Yeah, I just think that I assume, I've obviously never been on a challenge, but there's kind of this like agreed upon thing of, we're not gonna run our mouths about the sex that happens behind the scenes here, because a lot of marriages and relationships are going to be put into jeopardy due to that. And you also don't know, quite frankly, and like, we don't need to make this a sex and relationship podcast by any means, but like,
oh my God, can we though?
But can we though? Because I actually have a lot of hot takes.
The point I'll make before we get too off track is, Beth, quite frankly, like, even if they did have something happen, you don't know if they have an open relationship, whatever their thing is. So like, shut the fuck up and mind your own business. Like, it's not going to change the game whether or not they've had sex or not. That's what it comes down to. They are still close. And if they want to deal with their people at home about what's happening, maybe they already have a deal. Maybe Jonna has a hall pass. Maybe her husband is home doing things with someone else while she's doing shit here, and that keeps their like sex life riveting when they're together. Like, what does it matter to you, Beth? Like, how does that change your life? How does it impact you? Do you not like cheaters? Okay, then don't be her friend. Otherwise, like, it's not your fucking business. Shut up.
I support that narrative.
Tito.
I support it. I support both Jonna and MJ's partners saying, hey, when you're in the challenge house, do whatever you want to win the money.
Yeah, just come home with that check. Otherwise, don't come home.
Each other. Yes.
Yeah.
So
come
I
back
love
with
that
that check.
them.
Oh my God, is that a hickey? No, just kidding.
No, I just burned my hair.
Right.
Straightening my hair. Have fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also feel like with the Challenge All-Stars, I feel there's a little bit, they take a little bit more care of their cast members. I feel like they don't want that kind of thing to be a part of the narrative. That's what the challenge like regulars for. It's like we don't care about them. We can replace them. Who's cheating on who? And because I do feel like the challenge is one of those things where like if they have the video, they'll show it. Like if I could definitely see being like Beth being like oh, Jonna and MJ like cheated or whatever, yada yada. Cut to last season and they were making out or something. Like if they had that, they would show it. And I just don't think that there's like no, especially from Beth. Come on. I just don't believe her in the slightest. You know, whatever social media is saying is another thing. But I feel like Beth coming in, you know, as a new player after Chino's out, like why is she the one exposing this? Like is the rest of the house just like oblivious? Are they all covering it up? Like what's going on? I just feel like Beth is such an unreliable source. But I live for the drama she brought up.
Yeah, and I also, that brought up a really good point, because when someone does make a statement like that, it usually does cut to a scene of them doing it. I would have loved to see MJ and Jonna in the airplane at the end of All Stars 2 being like it would have been so good for that to be supported, but
yeah.
alas,
and then putting on the like super like editor view of it when she says it to like Sylvia and Mark, Jonna's cheating on her husband with MJ, it like cuts away and you don't ever actually see her mouthing it. It's just like the back of her. So it definitely sounds like they spliced that like audio into like that moment. Because even when like Jonna's like, oh, I'm gonna go sit over there, and sits next to Beth and Mark and Sylvia, like that doesn't come up at all. And that seems like if that's what's being talked about, like Jonna's not just gonna let that slide. She's gonna say something about it. But I think I'm jumping a little too forward, so we'll bring it back.
How dare you break the timeline? What the fuck? Yeah. First day here and you're just going ahead of the script. Okay.
It's
I don't know if you guys heard Nitro, but there he is. So
lovely.
Sometimes I can mute him and sometimes I can't. So after we find out that Sylvia and Mark win and are the authority and they're picking who goes into the arena, that's when TJ brings on the second twist, which we've already talked about, in that the people who get put into the arena get to pick who they go against. And what do you think about this twist at this point in the game? Do you support that they've changed it up? Do you wish that they kept the authority the same, or maybe just reduced the number in the authority but didn't change this part of it? Where are you at with your opinion in this, Tito?
I kind of like, and I like half of it and don't like the other half. Like I like that the person in the elimination gets to pick who they want, because then it makes it really open. Like you're not safe. But I also like kind of liked when the loser was an elimination. I like the daily challenge to mean something other than like if you win it, you like win. I want the loser to also, like, if the show is called The Challenge, make the challenge mean something. So I wanted, if it was going to be MJ and Beth, like fine, it's them, but then make MJ and Beth choose who they get to go against. I don't know. I think I like what kind of ultimately happened, but it does give me a little bit of the dual vibes too, in terms of like the person who loses the challenge gets to pick their opponent. But obviously it always like tailors and is, you know, more beneficial to like a larger alliance. So I think that the way it worked out this time was really interesting and exciting to see, just based on how like we had two volunteers almost. But
I'm kind of in the same boat where like I like a little bit of it and I don't like a little bit of it. It gives me a callback to Jody picking whoever she wanted when she was put into the elimination for Inferno 2. It's that choice of, I'm going to put you into the elimination, and now giving that choice back to the person that's going in. I just want there to be a penalty for the last place competitor, whether they DQ or they don't do so hot. Like, there should be a penalty, and that penalty should be an auto elimination. But, you know,
I think that component of when you lose, you go into the elimination, and losing that in the main challenge, like the MTV one, that's where they like have gone astray. And that's why there's so many issues, because you're able to alliance and numbers your way into what you want, or you have to like get these skulls and all this. Like, no, just make it where if you lose, you go in, and just make sure you have enough versatility in your challenges that it's not always going to be the biggest person who wins or the fastest person. Like, make it where a puzzle can determine something, or trivia, you know, like, if they can make a good TV show and still have that component of it, because I really like what you guys said, agree that the loser going in, I think, is just so important to keeping the challenge as to what it is. I don't hate that we've waited until this long to put this twist in, though. Like, at this point, I think it does help kind of keep the alliances on their toes. And like a lot of them said in their confessionals, at this point, yeah, you have your alliance, but really anybody is now up for grabs, and like this is a for yourself game. It's kind of like a Sandra Diaz Twine, like as long as it's not me, I don't care what fuck's going on type of thing. And I do like that bit of desperation. I think it is going to give us a little bit more politicking, and it prevents the treehouse running through things. Not that I wouldn't mind like the people in the treehouse running through things, but I think good TV gives us, I mean, like for example, this elimination with Yes and Wes that we're going to get, like, again, not to jump too far forward, that's great TV. That, like, we've been sitting here waiting for this. So there's good, there's bad. Well, I am going to reserve a lot of my judgment so I can talk about it in hindsight and judge, but right now I'm not completely mad about it. I do like when the loser. I was actually keeping track. I'm like, oh, so MJ's going in see limit, and then they're like, nah, just kidding. He's not. Like, there's a choice. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that when it happened, I think it was smart. I think that I liked the big authority to start. I think it was a smart move to make it smaller, and then also with the sabotages. Not that the sabotage like was super impactful, but then it could be MJ going in every time. Like if he's gonna get the sabotage every time, like it could be MJ going in every time, and that could get a little stale. So I do like that little shift, but that could also be like, turned out.
Me and my dog are gonna get in a fight if he keeps being this vocal. So if I leave off screen,
he agrees with all my takes. He's just cheering me on.
That's it. It's definitely not that he hears someone walking on the stairs a lot and is losing his mind over it. He's my little guard dog. Anyway, all right. So we get a little bit of like talk at the house, but honestly, it's just like, should we go after Beth because she might call one of us out? But like that's like the name of the game at this point, and I don't really know if it's worth focusing on that as much because the night out is where we get some shit that goes down.
I do want to talk about Beth and Veronica's double confessional because it felt. Is that jumping too far?
No, I mean it was last episode, so
right.
Like it was not this one, it's the one before. So if you're just a week late, it's fine. Come on in.
I really like. I put a lot of faith in Beth to be able to put like shit in the past and let bygones be bygones. But same old Beth, you know. I don't think that she should have went so hot and like hard at Veronica, being like, "I know we have a past. Let's try to fix it." But then like bring up old shit. Like that doesn't do anything. It doesn't help.
But also, same old Veronica. Veronica did the same thing. The only thing is that Veronica has like power and leverage in the game to like do that, whereas Beth has nothing.
I love when Veronica doesn't agree with something. She purses her lips. She goes, and that's when you know that you've lost her. That is my favorite tell from her. And as soon as Beth was going hard, I was like, "You're not doing it. You're not doing it."
It was like, perfect. Because what did she say? She's like, "I'm attention seeking. You were the one having threesomes in the shower."
Yeah. And Veronica was like, "I know you're not slut shaming me right now. You fucking can't." Oh, so good to see.
Oh,
so good to see.
I love that. Well, and we had a little. It even came with a little flashback, right? There was like a flashback to like the Inferno 2 or something. Oh, too good.
Yeah.
Too good.
Well, when we fast forward back to our night out after our little skip down memory lane to last week's episode, we have Yes being like, "Hey, sorry, DJ, that you MTV hired for us. None of us are going to be dancing because everyone's going to be sitting and talking game." I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
And the first conversation we get is MJ telling Mark, like, "Put me in and I'm calling Brad down." Like, that's what it is. Did you believe him?
Yes.
Yeah. Davey, what about you? You don't seem as steadfast on that.
I don't, because I think that MJ knows better. I think that MJ would have MJ's not going to choose Brad. I think that as we've seen in the last episode, he chose someone that was low-hanging fruit to be able to beat. I think that he would have went for someone
I'm
like...
offended that you
I think
called
he would have.
Cyrus low-hanging fruit.
No, that's what he called himself in the episode, Tito.
Yeah.
That's
You
why I
just
put
got
in air
first
quotes.
name.
Justice for Cyrus.
You just got first name. I think I agree with you, Davey. I don't know if he calls down Brad because I think that he thinks he'll lose Brad, and I think that he wants what he thinks is the path of least resistance. My guess is that he probably would have also called down yes. Because the other thing that happens with this new twist is you get to see the challenge, at least the setup of it, before you call down your opponent. So like there's definitely going to be audibles that get made. Like your game plan can totally shift when it's a hall brawl versus a puzzle game versus whatever. So I don't 100% think that it would have been Brad. I think it would have been dependent on the situation.
Yep.
I agree with you.
I think that MJ was also savvy enough, especially from last season's track record, to be able to be like, I think it's better to keep someone that's already going to be targeting me, so we're off the board. Like, I think that he was tuned into that.
You see, I kind of thought the opposite. I thought that because Brad has been consistently targeting him, he's like, let me take him out so that he's not targeting me anymore. Because that also seemed kind of one-sided. Like MJ was just kind of there taking hits, and Brad's just hitting him, seemingly for no reason. You know,
because he's dumb.
Because he's dumb, an idiot. You know. So I think it would have made sense, like if MJ called down Brad. But I see your point in that. I think MJ is a little smarter in that way. Like, let me see who I can beat more easily in whatever challenge it may be.
I guess we'll never know.
Yes, we won't.
Next, we get Mark and Sylvia as the authority talking to Beth, and they ask her, if you get put in, who are you calling down? And Beth says either Jonna or Kayla, I believe. And then she said Jonna is a dirty player. You cheat on your husband with MJ, and that's why I want her in there. And then Jonna was like, excuse me, I heard my name. Okay, but I want to know how. Like, I heard your name. Did a producer tap you on the shoulder and be like, yo,
absolutely.
No.
Absolutely.
No, during the lull in DJing, Jonna heard cheating on husband and just went over there.
Who else could they be talking about?
What? I have a husband.
Stop it. Don't do that to her.
Yeah.
My favorite moment of Jonna going over there, though, is when Beth was like, Jonna, and she's like, it's Jonna. Like, you fucking tell her, Jonna.
Yeah. I love that so much.
You better correct that name.
She's
if
like,
you're gonna,
She's
if
like,
you're going to call my name down, you better pronounce it right,
pronounce
bitch.
it right.
Yes.
She's like, why? Why don't you like me? She's like, because I don't think you play the game very honestly. I think you're very shady. I don't think you're an honest person. Well, why? Jonna, many reasons. It's Jonna. That was just so good. I wrote that whole interaction down.
Yeah. I also loved when Jonna was coming over, Mark was like, no. And then he slowly put his finger back because Jonna's going to command the stage. Like, no. That was
it was so good. And then she walks up and she's like, okay, if you want to go against me, that's fine. I'm happy to take your stars. I'll let you talk. I'll let you keep your conversation with them. And she like walks away. Like, she just knows how to make an entrance and an exit.
Yes.
I keep forgetting about these stars.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, they're so frustrating.
Yeah, let me I just want to know what they are. TJ, just tell me. Don't start barking, Nitro. He heard another dog bark. I knew it was coming.
No.
Right. Well, I'm gonna just talk louder than he's barking, so I'll just hold the microphone really close. We get a confession of Jonna saying, I'm not cheating on my husband. MJ saying, this is also true. So thank you for that. I think that will uphold in the court of law. And
can you do it? An MJ impersonation for me, please?
Oh God, hold on. I don't have enough time to put my hair in cornrows. So first issue.
Braids.
I said what I said. So
I don't even know what his hair is like.
No, I can't. I'm not the impression person. It's not me. Like I can do. Yeah, I don't want to embarrass myself that much because it would be very insulting to MJ whatever comes out of my mouth after that. And if I'm gonna insult MJ, I want it to be like for a good reason and not just because I can't emulate his voice. So
I also, they both like said the same line, right? They're both like, I'm not having an affair, which like kind of like hit me in the face. I was like, whoa, affair? Beth said cheating. Like, you know, I feel like cheated on your husband, like it happened once, we made out, cool, but a full-on affair seems like a lot. And so I feel like that choice of vocabulary got me interested. Especially, also, they said the exact same sentence. Like, it was confessional of John A, I'm not having an affair. Confessional of MJ, I'm not having an affair. Producer obviously told them to say that, but it makes me question. I'm very intrigued by it.
Well, Jonna did delete all the pictures of her and her husband from her Instagram after
No
All
way.
Stars 2. After All Stars 2. So there's some reason for people to believe things to be true, but again, you could delete all the pictures of your husband from your Instagram for a different reason. Maybe he like didn't put the laundry away or something. I don't know. I'm
Maybe he's in
kidding.
witness protection program. Like,
oh, great point. That's so good.
Wait, I think
Right?
they're back because
No, yeah,
there's
there's things that are back. Like they're posting pictures again, but after All Stars 2, which was a little while ago, that was the word on the Instagram streets. So
I gotta stay up to date with this stuff. I'm out of
oh,
touch.
the challenge subreddit consumes a decent amount of my time. It does. I don't comment much. If I have like a funny comment, I'll put it, but otherwise, like I read that a lot because there are people who do God's work and will listen to, because there's so many challenge podcasts. We are one of many, unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever it is, like who will listen and like tell you what happened. And challengers are actually like pretty willing to go on podcasts. Like I try and reach out to people. And they like don't hold back. So between that and like what they're putting on Twitter and in each other's Instagram comments, like whole nother realm to the challenge that like you kind of have to stay up on if you want to like be on be in the know. There's a whole nother realm to it. So you know, go to Reddit, get your username Tito, and start reading.
I'm there.
All right. The next morning we get Brad going up to Wes and like whisper yelling at him, like,
get out of bed, you little bitch.
Get out of bed. We gotta talk. We gotta go talk. And like wakes up everybody in the process. Like nothing subtle or discreet about it.
About what?
Elmer's glue on sale.
All right, listen, as like the white of the whitest skin, like if you saw my legs, you would, I don't want to know what you would say, because like there's no melanin in this shit. There's none. It is, I'm like, you can basically see through me. It's that white. So I understand, Wes. Like, listen, the sun doesn't
get one.
Yeah, that's really what we are. We are a package deal. Please bring us together.
Okay.
So in this chat, we have Mark, we have Brad, and we have Wes. And Brad sits down and is like, listen, I've gone to bat for you so many times in this game, in the authority, talking to other people outside of it. Like, why am I sticking my neck out like this? Because I felt I could have won that challenge and I'd be safe today. If I go in, or if MJ goes in, I'm getting called down. Like, my because of your yesterday. And Wes goes, if that's what it comes down to, like, I will go into elimination. Like, I'm not putting my friendship ahead of the gameplay here. Sometimes I liked this when he said sometimes it's just easier to lean into the mess. So my knight in shining armor here, Wes. I'm just kidding. So
no, let him.
Tito.
Yikes.
Go first, because we know what you think about Wes here, and I want to hear someone's opinion who isn't the biggest Wes fan, because I'll obviously have something different to say.
No, I think we might align. Who knows? I think I need to clarify. I think Wes is a good game player, and I will always defend like good gameplay. I don't like him as a personality. I think that's like two different things. So I think like this move in terms of, so like him going in Brad's place, seemingly, right, it was like doing this big favor for Brad, kind of building lots of social capital with Brad. It's a smart move in that way. But also on that flip side, I think Brad is using a ton of social capital to get this done. I think that Wes, while probably will remain loyal, I think that Brad looks very kind of like whiny, dumb in this scenario. I feel like he could have also gone into an elimination, probably taken out Yes in a similar fashion, but like Wes kind of, it reminds me of like an older brother going in to fix his little brother's issue, because to the older brother it's not a problem. So I think I like the move from him in a way where it's like he's building his social capital. He now has a win. He has another star, and so like in that regard, like I think he's moving forward, and like there's no harm done necessarily to his game. Whereas I think Brad is now like seen in a way where he's like, oh, he's not willing to go into elimination or to be a part of this like group that we've come together and built an alliance with. I feel like it makes him look a little bit more sketchy and wavery than maybe he had previously been seen. But the move itself,
Daveyy,
I think, is smart.
Daveyy, what do you hear?
I think Brad was a big smarty here, Tito.
Mm.
I think.
I wish that was right. I wish I could believe you on that.
So you're telling me that Brad didn't girl boss his way into not going into elimination?
See, I wish that was the case. I wish we would have seen, like I said earlier, in a confessional, ha 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 ha, I like convinced Wes to go in for me. But no, he was like, Wes is such a great friend. I want him, if he really did that, I want him to tell us. I want him to tell the audience, I did this. I used my social relationship with Wes to get him to go in so I wouldn't have to, but he didn't. And if he did do it and that was his goal and intention, then he's a really bad TV personality for not telling us that he did it that way.
I think that Brad had a lot of confessionals, and I think that his direct conversation and outlining it for Wes was him being like, this is what's happening, and like, I don't understand why I'm putting my neck on the line for that. But we can agree to disagree. Kari, what's the question again? Firmly.
Well, I just asked what you thought of this move in terms of both Brad putting it out there, and then Wes's resolution to what Brad is saying. What do you think of this?
I think it is a mutually beneficial move. I thought that it was smart because it saves their friendship. It gets someone that's not. It doesn't put MJ into elimination, which potentially could put Brad in danger, which saves Mark. And then it also gets Yes out, which is something that Wes had wanted. So I think that it was just a mutually beneficial move, and I think it was smart. I'm going to stand firm in my pro Brad in this moment because it was a really good move. If you had woken me up at 9 a.m. to be like, I put my neck on the line for you, I'd literally look at you and be like why are you waking me up right now? But I understood why he did it.
Yeah, I think something that's come up a few times throughout the season from Wes especially, which I think was a little bit of foreshadowing, was like, listen, the fact that me, Nehemiah, and all got the call to come to this and get to like go on this trip and be together and still get to like have this fun together means more to me than this game does in itself. And the confessionals haven't been the same from Brad when it comes to Wes being in the game. He acknowledges that Wes is one of his best friends outside of here, but I think a direct quote was, Wes is a headache in these games. And so I think that you're never going to get the move from Brad that you want, Tito, where he's like, look at what I did. Like, I manipulated the manipulator. I never do that. But to me, this is not a typical Brad move. Normally what Brad does is he's fucking pissed. He'll go into the elimination. If he comes back angrier. He ruins all of his social capital because he's treating everyone like shit, versus him pulling Wes aside and being like, yo, what the fuck? This is like probably one of the most proactive things I've seen do in his like history of the challenge to me. And it's like, you're never going to get the like, look what I did, but he's doing something different. And it, at least in this moment, it saved him from an elimination. And then I mean, Wes gets to kind of like back up everything he's saying. And to me, like when Wes gets the opportunity to there's a difference in, he draws that line in the sand where like I'll come into the game and be a jackass, but like there's things at home that matter to me, and like everybody outside the game, they're like, yeah, I love being friends with him at home, but here I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. And so for him to like kind of like let that line get a little blurry in this, and he didn't take the steadfast like, no, I'm the game player, and showed Brad, listen, this, your friendship means something to me. I will do it. I want you to know I'm not here trying to fuck you over. Like, yes, I want to win. However, like, you're important to me too. So I just loved the whole component of it, because it was, I think we get a little bit of a different thing from each of them than we're used to seeing out of their history on the challenge.
Yeah.
I feel
My guy Wes.
I feel like I have to think about this. I feel like you brought up good points.
Thank you.
So I'll let you know what I ultimately land on.
Yeah, get back to me.
And now I'm thinking about it.
I think the last biggest thing that Brad has shown me is that he's a really good jeweler, because the last biggest thing that he's shown me was his necklace. And his poor track record in eliminations. It's unfortunate.
Well, after this conversation, we move into the authority, and it's Mark and Sylvia. Mark says, like, let's do this with the least amount of blood on our hands, please. Sylvia agrees. And Mark says, like, Wes offered himself up. That's easy enough. And it's like, okay, cool. And then you can see Sylvia kind of struggling with who to put in there. And I think this is where, like, Mark is at his best, where he obviously doesn't have much of a relationship with Sylvia, you know, like they're 20 years apart in age, or like 15 to 8, you know, something around there, right? Like he hasn't been on challenges with her before, whatever. And he sits her down and is like, you have one person you want to protect, correct? It's Kayla. Okay. Is putting Beth in going to risk Kayla's well-being in this game? Yes. You had Jonna come up to you and say, I'm okay going in. I'm going to pull Beth. Why would you put either, like, you don't put Kayla at risk by doing that. Take advantage of that situation. And then they kind of flash back to the night before where we didn't see it, but Jonna said to them, listen, or put me in, I'll call Beth down. I want a hand in taking her out of this game. So I like that Mark could have easily tried to fuck up the treehouse in that moment by being like, yeah, put in Beth. Let's see what happens. Beth is far more likely to be loyal to Mark than not. So I don't know. Mark could have played the game a little bit here. But we end up with Wes and Jonna going into our elimination. Do we have any commentary on this? Because to me, I kind of felt cut and dry. How do you feel about it, Tito?
It's pretty straightforward. It's the idea of protect your people at all costs, and Sylvia did what she had to do to protect Kayla. There's really no other option. It's like what needed to be done. She had a straight line to get it done, and she did it. That's it.
I'm kind of nervous because I feel like they're slowly but surely setting up the stage for Sylvia and Kayla to be targeted. And I am worried that it's going to come sooner rather than later, because I don't know how they're going to do it, because they have to get rid of the treehouse to be able to do it. But I think that Ronnie and Veronica are going to become more savvy at their like duo than anything. So I think it was pretty straightforward, but it did illuminate a lot of things.
Before we go to the arena for the elimination, we get Wes giving a little bit of insight, and I loved this, obviously, when he's just thinks I'm the villain. Everyone thinks they know what I'm going to do, and just when they think they know what I'm going to do, I'm going to come out here and slap them upside the head and shake it up. And the only constant in this is that I'm a troll. I love this shit. I love this shit. I love that he doesn't care. Like, he cares, obviously. He probably cares more than most people do about these games when they get there, because he does obviously try very hard, which rightfully so. You're there doing it. But I just love his like self-awareness of it. And I hate the people who are like, who are bitchy, two-faced, whatever, and then are just like, what, me? Me? You think me? Like, Wes is like, no, this is me. And I'm 100% this. And that's one of the biggest reasons I'm such a big fan of him.
Mm-hmm.
So Tito's going to leave here being a Wes fan. He's going to have a poster up on his wall behind him by the next time he does a challenge podcast. I know it.
You can go back and clip an hour and 19. I'm pretty sure he said Wes is someone I really like at that moment. I wrote it down.
All right, let's get into this arena.
I don't know about that. But...
One of you said you wrote down the arena game. Who was it?
Me. I'm pretty sure it was knocked off.
Okay, that makes sense.
Never said that.
What?
Oh, he's still denying his love for Wes.
Oh.
It's okay. So we get Jonna and Wes being called down because they were voted in by the authority, and Jonna chooses to go against Beth. Her reasoning was Beth said she wanted to go against me, and I'll be doing the whole house a favor by sending her home. Talk your shit, Jonna. Let's go.
Okay. This was another callback to the duel. This is another callback to the duel.
Oh my god, I literally wrote that down too.
Right? When Svetlana's like,
Svetlana.
I'm going with Beth. I want her to come back so bad. You have no idea. But yeah, when Jonna said that, I was like,
Svetlana should have won that season. I'm mad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for real.
And then when Wes gets to choose, his one reasoning is, I'm choosing the worst judge of character in the entire house. Yes.
Iconic.
Oh, iconic.
That was good.
So we get Wes in a confessional saying, I'm proving my true loyalty to Brad. I now have a situation with a brand new enemy. Yes is saying I came to play and to play hard. But when it's Wes and Yes in front of TJ, and Wes goes, or TJ goes like, how do you feel about being down here? Yes. And Yes goes, I'm here to nurture this flame of fairness and integrity the best I can. And TJ goes, okay, so how do you really feel?
TJ's so good at calling people out on their shit.
Yes.
Wes is like, even TJ knows you're full of shit. That was good.
Because that's like the worst possible thing you could say. Like, you're about to go into an elimination. You know there's this rivalry brewing. Like, stop.
Mm-hmm.
Like, go kick some ass.
Yes.
So we get into the women's elimination. Let's quickly describe this game. So there is, the best way I can describe it is almost like a billboard, like a two-sided billboard. And there's like 20 plus foot diameter tubes that go through it, so you can like push it to the other person's side so it's out on their side or in on your side, whatever. And the goal is to push these tubes in a way that knocks your competitor off of their side of the billboard. And the women's elimination is first. So I mean, MJ is helping Jonna out throughout the thing. No one's really helping Beth. Something that I thought was interesting was usually in these eliminations, like a lot of people are yelling and cheering, and it felt very purposeful that we only heard MJ. Kind of like, everyone shut up, let MJ help her. So there's only one voice yelling directions, only one person, and you aren't hearing all this different shit, which definitely did help Jonna in some component. I mean, she didn't end up beating Beth because Beth quit.
A win's a win.
Jonna beat Beth. Beth's last name should be Quit at this point. That's all she does. What did you think of this women's elimination? Because like,
it gave me like slumber party vibes. It was very like sock and boppers and like Connect Four. It was very like, I don't know. I don't think that it was necessarily like an invigorating elimination. It was really nice to see strategy from Jonna, I guess, assisted by MJ. But I don't know. I think that I still don't know if Jonna would have won if it wasn't for Beth's fear of heights and for, I don't know, Beth being a quitter. I think if Beth was intentional and somebody was helping her, she could have beat Jonna, unfortunately.
I think that's probably fair. I think that this elimination doesn't necessarily like cater to one particular person. To your point, Kari, I think that like MJ being the only voice we hear could have been like, does anybody else care? Like, I feel like the rest of the girls in the house probably were kind of like, I don't care who of these two go. I think Kayla even mentioned like, if Jonna goes, like that's fine by me. I don't think there was a lot of like, you know, no one was cheering for a particular side in this case. I think people were like, yeah, Beth, if she left, that'd be fine. But I think ultimately, like, this happened the way it was supposed to happen. And Beth, good riddance. Let's never see her again. Goodbye. TJ hates quitters.
Yes.
After this, we get the men's elimination, and we have Nehemiah and Brad being very vocal for Wes. We have Veronica being vocal for yes. And this goes on for a while. It's basically just like Wes pushing the same 3 to 4 tubes back and forth, and yes, running his mouth. Mr. Integrity dropping motherfuckers left, right, and center, talking his shit, which I thought was an interesting thing coming from yes. And at some point, Wes, I don't know if he figured out the strategy purposefully or figured it out. I would love to give him credit, but I'm not going to jump all the way to that, where it got to a point where he had a bunch of the cylinders pushed out to like, basically he could like cascade yes off the edge, because he just had to keep going across until yes had nowhere else to go, because Wes pushed all of the cylinders in, and it took them a while to get there. But we end up with Wes winning this elimination. Obviously, I'm happy. But what did you think of like the whole thing? It's just really hard to pick like certain places to break this down, because it went on for so long. We only saw certain parts, and I mean, really, it was just a lot of like cylinder pushing back and forth. So,
I thought it was really funny. I think it like, when it started, it had this like really like dramatic, like actiony type music going to it. It was this big, you know, battle of the Titans, this big rivalry coming together, and then like the music stopped for a second, and it was very like push, 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 and it was like kind of like cartoonish the way it sounded and happened. But then the music came back on, and it was this big like rivalry again. But I think ultimately, it was a hard-fought battle. I think Yes did a good job. Wes did a good job. I don't know what Yes's like whole strategy was with like his shouting and making these weird noises. I think at one point he was like shouting like "hump the wall, hump the wall." It's like, what are you doing, dude? So I think it always like led me to believe, okay, I think Wes is gonna win this one, because Yes is just being a little chaotic.
I'm a technical observer. I really like how people can break down challenges and use that insight to gain the win. I think that Wes did a really good job of being silent and figuring out where Yes was. And I don't understand why Yes was dropping motherfuckers left, right, and center, because all it did was illuminate where your position was. And now Wes is going to push you into the corner. Like, Yes was so focused on morality and doing what was right that he wasn't thinking strategically, and that is his fatal flaw. Yeah. I so sad. What a waste. But I will say that with this new twist to the authority and who's going into eliminations, I like the call your shots, because we've seen, as of right now, it's been 100% accurate. Whoever is calling the shots, they're going to call it for a reason.
Right. So Yes falls off. Wes jumps off in a superhero form as he's like belayed down, which definitely made me laugh. And we get TJ's goodbyes. Beth, thank you for being here for 8.5 hours. You were useless. Hopefully see you never. And then I quoted TJ exactly, which is kind of crazy. He said that to her face, but go off, TJ. And then and then this part was the most confusing thing of the whole episode to me. So TJ bizarre. Says, "Yes, you're my favorite human to ever be on the challenge."
What?
TJ just picked a favorite child.
Everybody on the balcony was like,
"What?"
Yeah, like I don't know.
Like Wes has something to say. Like I feel like there's plenty of contestants who are like, "What are you talking about?" Yes has been on 3 challenges.
I know.
In 20 years of this, like, what do you mean he's your favorite of all time? I'm confused.
That was such a bold statement by TJ. Absolutely.
It just seems
bold.
so out of place. It's like, I like when TJ like shares his input and like says things like that,
Mhm.
but like, huh? I don't know.
Mhm.
It was so bizarre.
It's very bizarre.
And that is where our challenge ends. So Yes leaves, Beth leaves, and we are in for it next week. The preview didn't really give us too much insight. Just seemed like there's going to be some chaos, and this new twist allows for chaos. So we will get it. We'll see it next week. But
Ooh, I did hear one point. Wait, before we get there was this tiny little second where Beth and Yes are walking away, and Veronica screams, "Check in with Jemmy," and I just thought that was really cute, and I wanted to highlight that. But then in the preview for next week, there was like, I think it was Nia's voice who said, "Fuck the treehouse." So I'm like interested to see if Nia gets like in there and starts to build some more relationships. So that's what I'm eager to see that for next week.
Hopefully.
Wait, has it always been? People have been saying Naya. Has it always been Naya, or is
oh
it?
my god,
It's
I think it is Naya. I
it's
keep
Naya.
alternating. Yeah, it's Naya.
So Tito does what he wants. It's
Yes.
when she comes on our show, please make sure you say her name correctly to her face.
I'd be too embarrassed to even be on. I'd be like, oh, absolutely not, I can't make it.
Sorry, I'm sick. All right. So any last parting words before we wrap this episode up? Tito?
Yes. This is bullshit. Y'all are cheating. They're telling her what to do. I'm done. Get me out.
How did you know that I had someone telling me everything to say outside the screen? Why are you calling me out like that?
Daveyy was helping you on the sidelines. I'm done. Get me down.
Daveyy, your last words for episode 5.
This game is ugly. The inner circle is ugly, and I don't want to be a part of it anymore. I'm just kidding. I definitely misquoted that, but you know what I meant.
We approve of it.
Thank you.
Okay, so how we end things over here is we always allow you to plug yourself on the internet. So, Daveyy, where can people find you online?
You can find me right here at Davey Sack, Dave 2 Y's and Sack. And I just want to say happy Pride to everyone that's listening. And yeah, hope people are enjoying the podcast. And happy that this was the podcast that took my cherry.
Oh, man, I thought I was done taking people's virginity, but here we are.
I'm no longer a rookie, baby.
What a time to be alive.
What a time.
All right. Tito, where can people follow you?
I like that. I want the next time for like the little bar here to say Tito Vet, since I'm now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I'll get that too.
The good thing is you get to put it in yourself, so I can't stop you.
You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Bechichis. That's BECHICHIS. And yeah, that's me.
All right, sweet. And
check me out.
Yeah, definitely follow. They are 2 of our newest podcasters. You'll be seeing them more and more. As for me, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and the best one, Venmo at KGD26. So follow me for all of your Kari needs. I don't provide a lot, but I'm here for you. So where you can find me more though recently is with Silent Podcast. I am podcasting a lot. Obviously I have TJ Hates Quitters. We've got the rest of this All-Star season, and then we have the Challenge USA starting July 6th. So you're going to be getting a lot of challenge coverage over these next couple of months, which is fantastic. We just finished the Circle alert. That was Josie and I, but we do have an interview coming up this Monday with Alex, who played Nathan in the Circle, and his girlfriend, which is super exciting. So check that out Monday. I also podcast with Katie twice a week. Twice a week on 2 different shows. We do a weekly show for Real Housewives called The Cool Water Show. Definitely check us out. That's usually Sunday nights. And then our favorite one lately has been The Real World Homecoming New Orleans. That is coming to an end next week. We have some really exciting news about that. I'm not going to break it here, but stay tuned because we have some exciting shit coming up with that. I'm so pumped about it. So yeah, all over Silent Podcasts. You're going to be hearing a lot more new voices coming up soon. We just brought in, I think, 8 new people, something like that, 9, 10, whatever. There's a lot of new people. And so you saw 2 of them tonight. You'll see more, I think, next week, actually the next couple of weeks. So we're bringing in a bunch of new voices and you'll see them showcased here and other podcasts throughout our network. But here's where you can follow us. We are Silent Podcasts on Twitch and on YouTube. So search that, subscribe, and then follow us at silent_podcast on Twitter. So some of us post our things live. You could have been watching this on Twitter. We put up when our stuff's posted. So just follow us for all the updates that you need about everything Silent Podcast. And if you're listening to us in podcast form, whether it's on Apple, Spotify, or wherever else you can listen to podcasts these days, rate, subscribe. But if it's not 5 stars, keep it moving. Give it to someone else. Give us 5-star reviews. Tell us how much you like our new people and how much you love the OGs. So, but until next week, just as a heads up, if you are someone who expects this content in your feed, like Thursday night, Friday morning, like we normally do, we have to push it back a little bit. Quick story is that I did Big Brother, Big Sister when I lived in Boston, and my little sister is graduating from high school next week. So I will be on a flight to Boston to see that when we're normally podcasting. So we're either going to do it next Sunday or Monday, but we will get you your coverage and then be back on our normal schedule after that. So sorry in advance, but life is important. So again, Daveyy, Tito, thank you so much. You did so great for your first podcast. It was awesome talking to you guys. You had me cracking up. I hope everybody enjoyed it as much as I do. And until next week, enjoy whatever time of day it is, whatever day it is. Just live your life. Have a great day. We love you. Bye.
Thank you for having us. Bye. Have a good